I think there are at least 30 federal lawsuits we filed trying to get to the bottom of the deep state conspiracy against our Republican form of government. 30 federal FOIA lawsuits. Some of them have hit pay dirt. For instance, we uncovered that Andrew Weissman, the number 2 in Mueller's operation, the prosecutor in the Justice Department at the time, is an anti-Trump partisan who sent an email to Sally Yates, the Department of Justice, actually acting Attorney General, Obama holdover, who was there at the beginning of the Trump administration, who had to be fired by President Trump for refusing to enforce his travel restrictions on immigrants from terrorist countries. He sent an email saying, "I'm in awe of you." Congress didn't find that. It wasn't disclosed voluntarily by the Justice Department. We had to sue to get the records. That's the sort of thing that Judicial Watch does. We have lawsuits on the dossier, we have lawsuits on the unmaskings, we have lawsuits on the targeting of General Flynn, we have lawsuits on virtually everything of importance related to the big investigation, as I say, targeting President Trump improperly, and the abuses associated with that targeting. And just this week or last week, we filed 2 new federal lawsuits, which I say brings it up past 30, against the Justice Department for documents on this Fusion GPS racket. This was the company that was hired by Hillary Clinton and the Democratic National Committee to gather dirt on President Trump. And they paid the author of the dossier, Christopher Steele. Now, we sued for documents specifically, because we have other lawsuits on the dossier, on the Department of Justice scandal that the number 4 official at the Justice Department at the time, Bruce Ohr, was dealing with Fusion GPS, even while his wife Nellie worked for Fusion GPS. In fact, once it became public, the Justice Department demoted him or kicked him out of the number 4 slot and put him back in his slot where he currently is, I think, still heading the organized crime division of the criminal division of the Justice Department. So he's still really a senior guy at Justice Department. But he was talking to directly the Fusion GPS people, including Christopher Steele. Now, Steele, according to the Nunes memo, was in contact with Ohr repeatedly, and including, and I'm reading this from the memo, in September 16, 2016, Steele admitted to Ohr his feelings against then-candidate Trump when Steele said he was desperate that Donald Trump not get elected and was passionate about him not being president. And the emphasis was in the original. The clear evidence of Steele's bias was recorded by Ohr at the time and subsequently in official FBI files, but not reflected in any of the Page FISA applications, the Carter Page FISA applications. So you have this number 4 official of the Justice Department put on notice that Steele was out to get Trump and didn't want him to be president. And certainly we also knew about the background of the payments by the Clinton fronts, the Clinton DNC operation, to pay Steele to do this work. And even after Steele supposedly was let go by the FBI, because the FBI in the least was thinking of hiring him, they paid to fly him around, Ohr still met with Steele. An outrageous conflict of interest. It shows why the Justice Department FBI investigations surrounding Russia collusion have been so thoroughly compromised. And it's really outrageous that the Justice Department, despite this admissions, because they demoted Ohr, we all know why they did it. They're withholding documents about Ohr's communications with Steele. So we sued separately for Ohr's communications with Steele, in documents about communications with the Fusion GPS owner Glenn Simpson, and also basic calendar entries to figure out what he was doing and when. And we asked documents about Nellie Ohr. What was her communications with the Justice Department, and specifically, her husband? So we're asking these questions. You would have thought that special counsel was asking these questions. I know the president was upset because I think it was a week or so ago, General Sessions said, well, he's going to give it to the IG. At this point, the IG ain't good enough. That's why you've had Senator Grassley call for a special counsel. And I don't think that's going to work either, and here's why. Because if you get a special counsel appointed to investigate, I don't even know what they're supposed to be investigating at this point. Is it the FISA abuses? Is it the unmaskings? Is it the decisions not to prosecute Hillary that were based on illicit politics at the top levels of the FBI and Justice Department? Is all that going to be investigated? Are they going to investigate Mr. Mueller, who supposedly is using this dossier created by the Hillary Clinton campaign? Recall, the Hillary Clinton campaign created this dossier and by hook and by crook got it laundered into the FBI and Justice Department to target the Trump people and President Trump himself. So is this special counsel going to come in and ask questions about what Mueller was up to? Is he going to ask, why did the special counsel withhold information from the American people for 4 or 5 months about the removal of Peter Strzok, that anti-Trump FBI agent, from his team? Is he going to ask why Andrew Weissman, the number 2 who I talked about, is still on his team despite being an anti-Trump partisan? Weissman, by the way, also went to Hillary Clinton's election night party. Just think about that. The number 2 in the special counsel was applauding this lawless attempt to thwart President Trump's lawful order by the acting Attorney General, and also had previously went to Hillary Clinton's election night party. This is the independent counsel or special counsel, top dog. The special counsel, a second special counsel, is going to necessarily run into the Mueller operation. And frankly, we know what's going to happen because Mueller is being treated like a king, by Rosenstein and by Sessions' refusal to unrecuse himself, General Sessions. So unless the special counsel is going to be brave enough to stop the Mueller investigation while he investigates it, the abuses will continue, because I think the Mueller special prosecution is an abuse. There would have been no Mueller investigation, no appointment, I mean, without this shady dossier created by Hillary Clinton. There's zero doubt about that. You wouldn't have had the dossier. You wouldn't have had Comey go in to President Trump and talk to him about this dossier that we now know that Obama was involved in helping set up, it looks like. And that was one of the reasons President Trump fired Comey, it looks like. And then Comey retaliates by leaking a memo and gets Mueller appointed. And now Mueller is using this same dossier. It's all part, there'd be no dossier. There is no Russia collusion story without the dossier. I know there's been this Democratic memo in response to the Nunes memo. The Democratic memo isn't worth the paper it's written on. Why? Because we're expecting the Democratic Party to talk about a Democratic Party document in an honest way, one that obviously was misused and abused by the Justice Department and FBI to justify spying on the political opponent of the Democratic Party nominee? Please. This is why our lawsuits are so important, and this is why it's frustrating that the Justice Department, the FBI, the NSA, no matter who we ask, they don't want to give us the documents. We all know there's a dossier. This Justice Department, FBI, NSA are refusing to confirm or deny the dossier exists. We all know have been unmaskings. They're refusing to confirm or deny the unmaskings exist. It's not a question of withholding documents. They're pretending they can't even tell us one way or another whether they did what is being alleged here.